of the Health and Human Services Secretary Kathleen Sebelius in her testimony before a House panel today. We reported earlier in this news hour that lawmakers, that she told lawmakers that if she could go back, she would have launched the website more slowly to prevent that disastrous rollout. Just a short time after the hearing, or I should say before the hearing on Capitol Hill, Secretary Sebelius announced that she has asked for an internal investigation into the rollout and the performance of private contractors. Let's take all this to the judge, Fox News senior judicial analyst, Judge Andrew Napolitano. Is she on point?
She is and she isn't. She's on point in that an investigation is needed, but she can't order the person who she has purported to order to conduct the investigation. Here's what I mean. When Congress enacted the Inspector General law that placed an Inspector General in every executive department of the government, Justice, Defense, Health and Human Services, for example, they are totally independent of the Secretary. So she can't tell them what to do. In fact, they can investigate her before she can order them to investigate something else. So I think, I don't know what's going on in her head, she's probably trying to get this off the front page by saying, oh, I ordered an investigation, we'll find out what happened. She can't order the investigation.
But they certainly want it off the front page because their news today is news that they want out.
Correct.
That is, people are signing up. They're putting out stories of people for whom this is working. They have a lot of individual stories. Sort of the same sort of thing that you've seen from people who wasn't working for. They're stories of people that is working for, and that's what they want us to focus on.
Right. They do not want us to focus on the 5.5 million people who lost their policies in the past 2 months and don't have them back, and they don't want us to focus on who knew that was going to happen and establish this monstrosity anyway.
Where do you think this goes from here?
You know, I think that the president has been damaged politically in his own party. Most of the people that are suffering from this are lower middle class people who the president really thought he'd be helping with this. So I think there's going to be a political reaction to it. And the political reaction will be Democrats in the Congress, in the House of Representatives, and the Senate running for re-election in November who will want to distance themselves from the president personally and from the Affordable Health Care Act politically, because they don't want to have to defend something that harmed so many of their constituents.
That is, unless their side gets back control of the narrative, because when you have control of the narrative, people start thinking the way that the narrative plays out. So we'll see how it goes.
Oh, well, look, the president was riding high a few months ago. He could be riding high a few months from now. You know what politics is like. It changes every day.
These days it does. I want to ask you about Jonna Winter before you leave. She's the reporter from FoxNews.com who didn't go to jail. You wrote publicly that you were predicting victory and all the rest. I watched the oral arguments, and I was scared to death for her.
Well, I was afraid as well. I know that the way judges like to operate, and I was fearful that the case would go the other way. And I wasn't in the courtroom with you, but somebody sent me a transcript of the oral argument. And I didn't want to tell Jonna, but from the transcript of the oral argument, I would have predicted it was going to go the other way. Look, I was on the bench for many years. I know that you can't always tell from what judges say in the courtroom how they're going to rule. So fortunately, my fears were not well grounded. This is an extraordinary victory, not just for freedom of the press, but for, as you said, exposing truth to power. People will no longer be afraid that if they come to a journalist and say, here's what the government is doing, I'm going to tell you, but you can't reveal that it's me. That their name can forever be kept secret, and the public will know what's going on. It's not just the government, it's big business, it's anybody you want to blow a whistle on. That the whistleblower laws work and make sense, and journalists are not going to go to jail for following them.
Thank goodness. Thank you, Judge.
Pleasure.